Okay, you guys, we are back with another video. The eyes. Anywho, let's talk about Kimora because Kimora is pulling out Russell. Russell is joining the chat, honey, and let me preface this video by saying that if you don't know how to compartmentalize, this video might not be for you. And it is because on this video, I'll be in Russell's defense. And yes, I'm aware that Russell has allegations against him as it relates to the assault on women. And I don't support nor condone that behavior for those who have been keeping up on those videos. But this is where Russell has my support against Kimora. And that is because I have been following this case and I've been doing thorough videos on this case. And for those who have been keeping up over here would know that I've been just keeping you guys up to date with what is going on with Russell and Kimora as it relates to Kimora and her ex-husband Tim Leissner dipping into Russell's Celsius shares and selling it. And they use the money in Tim's case. Tim was held liable for missing funds from the Malaysian government and, he was going to go to jail. He had to pay back some money up front and Russell's money was the money that was used to bail Tim out of jail, right? So, you guys know that Kimora, Life in the Fab Lane, her reality TV series, it's back on E, and it's given life. Kimora is that girl and you cannot take that away from her. She's that girl and you have to give her credit where credit is due. But here's what's going on. So Kimora is getting a lot more attention and as such, she said to People magazine recently, because she's doing some interviews as well, and they're asking her about life and everything that has to do with life in general. So she says that she doesn't have a relationship with the kid's father. And she says, guys are weird, right? That was her response. So Russell is not allowing Kimora to say that and get away with it. You know what you did, Kimora. You know the case is still in court. Why are you consistently attacking this man because he is refusing to allow you to have his way with his money? And you know what about this money? I'm going to tell you guys the truth. Because Kimora has taken money from Russell before. But when she took the money from Russell before, Kimora used the money for Kimora and whatever. Russell didn't care. Russell doesn't care about Kimora messing with his money for Kimora. But he cares about Kimora messing with his money for Tim. And that's where Russell drew the line. And when Kimora and Tim messed with Russell's money, Russell brought it before the court. Tim and Kimora wrote a letter to the judge, telling the judge that under California Free Speech Act, her and Tim, they are entitled to Russell's money. And the judge was like, you have to be kidding me. You can't be serious. This is not how California Free Speech Act works. So out with this mess. And Russell asked the court to subpoena Kimora for her phone records. Russell is saying all the evidence is there. There's evidence that Kimora did take the money, but they have to come up with some more information so that the court can demand that Kimora pay back Russell the money. The money that Kimora took from Russell, based on what I'm understanding when I went through the case, it's not even the money so much. It's just how she was gaslighting the man and painted the man to be crazy. And not just that, when the man told her not to touch his money for Tim, she threatened that man and told that man that if he sues her, she's going to ensure the kids do not talk to him. And I find that to be extremely unfair of Kimora because Russell has always been taking care of everyone up to the point where Kimora messed with Russell's money for Tim. So fast forward to now, after she was like she doesn't have a relationship with the kid's father, guys are weird, Russell, replied and he said, I gave you $50,000 a month for 20 years. I was your best and only friend. I'm the godfather to your other 3 kids, which is true because they had such an amazing relationship. He was always cheering her on. They would always have family dinners and family get-together. And even when Russell was paying for everything, if not most things, he really didn't mind, right? He said, I was the godfather to you, your other 3 kids, until one day you stole my stock. I have been fighting for my kids' love and my bread ever since. You threatened that if I sued you, I would never speak to my kids again. There are 2 sides to every story. And it's true. It is true. There are 2 sides to this story. So I definitely support Russell on this. Don't come out here talking about the guy is weird, even though the guy is weird. But don't, come out here and act as though Russell is the problem when you know what you did. You messed with that money. You messed with that man's money. You messed with his stocks to get Tim out of jail, to keep Tim from going to prison. And now you're saying the man is weird. And all this time the man was not weird. You know why the guy is weird. The guy has you in court, and because of that, you're butthurt because you don't want to repay his money. And the problem is, Russell would not have a problem with the money if it was something that Kimora even took to buy clothes, jewelry, do plastic surgery. He would not have any problems with the money, but Russell has drawn the line, saying that he's not responsible for Tim's problem. And because he knows that Kimora took the money to take care of Tim's problem, that's where Russell has drawn the line. And you can't blame him, because while he sees Kimora and the kids as his responsibility, who is Tim? Tim is a man. And if you're going to marry to a man, you should at least ensure that that man is able to take care of your affairs or his affairs. But here comes Kimora taking care of Tim's affair, because if she didn't take care of Tim's affair, she was fearful that eventually Tim would have pulled her down with him. That is what she was afraid of. So she had to bail out Tim, and she saw the way of bailing out Tim to be Russell's money that she had access to. Russell was too trusting of Kimora. That's his problem. He was too trusting of her, and she basically showed him that she is not someone that you should trust. So it's rather unfortunate that things played out like this, but Kimora is no saint as she's pretending to be, and when she consistently throws this man under the bus and consistently gaslights this man over his money, it shows you that Kimora is a problem here. It's not Russell who is the problem here. It's not. And she needs to stop doing this to Russell, because you don't do these things to someone. You just don't. You use that money for your husband, and on top of it, you're telling the court that you're entitled to Russell's money under California Free Speech Act. Like, how crazy is that? That's theft. You did not take that money for you and your kids. You took that money to save Tim's ass. And irrespective of the fact that you took the money to save Tim's ass, you're not willing to, do Russell any justice. You painted the man to be crazy and to be out of control when you know why the man was acting that way. Like, she knew why Russell was acting like that. Gaslighting the man. And it worked for a period of time, until people started doing their research and realizing, hold on a minute, she used Russell's money to do what now? Yeah, she used Russell's money to save Tim from going to jail, because Tim was caught in embezzlement of the Malaysian funds, and he was going to go to jail. And Tim had to pay back some of the money up front, which he did, and he has to make arrangements to pay the rest of it. Don't know if he has cleared the outstanding balance. But Russell is not the problem in this, and Kimora needs to stop it, because how long are you going to keep up this charade for? The guy was never weird until you stole his money and he asked to pay it back. So all this time, Russell wasn't a weird guy. He was perfect, their family, because that is the narrative Kimora used to promote. Their family, they were perfect. But the moment that she stole Russell's stock to save Tim's ass, and Russell was like, you and your husband, you're going to pay me back my money, all of a sudden Russell is a bad guy. They're no longer family, and Russell is crazy, and Russell is weird. You know, you really don't do people like that, because it's just not right. Russell is not a decent person, but we should always allow truth to prevail. We should always allow truth to take precedence over the false narrative. But what Kimora is doing here, it's gaslighting, narcissism. The internet is not buying Kimora's story, however. The internet is on Russell's side. Yeah. The internet is on Russell's side on this one. Everyone believes him, believes Russell. Everyone believes Russell, and everyone is on Russell's side, and they're dragging Kimora and saying Kimora is hurt. She's a sad person, and they're talking about how Kimora tried to derail Tony Braxton's marriage to Birdman, because Kimora is all about money, and wherever Kimora sees an opportunity for money, she's gonna take it. She's all about the money. So people are talking about her because, yes, it's alleged that when Tony Braxton initially wanted to call off the marriage between her and Birdman, it was Kimora who was all up in Birdman's ear, because Birdman was taking care of Kimora, and Kimora wanted Birdman for herself, and Tony Braxton was, well, allegedly, and Tony Braxton was like, no, I'm not going to do me, you, and Kimora thing. And I don't think that Kimora would be able to take Birdman over from Tony, because that man loves Tony Braxton. He loves that woman endlessly. So I don't know, maybe during Tony Braxton and Birdman's off moment, that's when Birdman got caught up with Kimora, because that man loves Tony. He loves Tony more than life. So I don't even know how Birdman got mixed up with Kimora above all people. But yeah, Russell is right and Kimora is wrong in this sense. And the internet is standing on Russell's side. Kimora can fool some people sometime, but she can't fool all the people all the time. So the people have caught up to Kimora and her little mind games, and they're not buying it. They are not buying it, not one bit. Not one bit. They're not buying it. So that's all I have to say about that for this video. Let me know what's your take, and we're going to talk some more. Peace.